Hey there, welcome back to another tasty holiday recipe. Today we're going on a yummy adventure to make magical candy cane cookies. This recipe comes from Number 2 Pencil and I can't wait to share it with you. These twisty treats look just like candy canes and taste just like peppermint dreams. They're perfect for holidays or any fun day. All right, so let's grab our ingredients and our tools and get started. So as always, we want to make sure that we have all of our ingredients and tools before we get started. All right, we're going to need a big bowl, a stand mixer or an electric mixer, a spatula, plastic or beeswax wrap, tablespoon or a cookie scoop, a baking sheet lined with parchment paper or a silicone mat, a small bowl, and I'm going to reuse this one, and a spoon and fork. All right, for the ingredients, we got 2 sticks of butter, softened, so make sure it sits out for a little bit. We've got 1 cup of powdered sugar, 1 large egg, 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract, and 1 teaspoon of peppermint extract, 3 cups all-purpose flour, half teaspoon of salt, 3/4 teaspoon of red food coloring. And later we're going to do the glaze while the cookies are baking, and then that's going to be a cup of powdered sugar, which is in here. And then we've got 1/8 teaspoon of more of the peppermint extract, which will go in here. And then 1 to 2 tablespoons of milk. And that's depending on if it's too runny or too thick. So we'll play it by ear. Okay, so got everything? All right, awesome. So go ahead and wash your hands and we'll mix some magic. All right, so the first step, we're going to take our big bowl and either a stand mixer or our electric mixer, and we're going to combine the room temperature butter and our 1 cup powdered sugar. There we go. And we're going to mix that up until it's fluffy, and we're going to do that and be right back. All right, so this looks fluffy to me, so we're ready there. And next we're going to add in the egg. And then the 2 extracts. So the peppermint and the vanilla. All right, and then we're going to mix that up again. And as you're mixing, scrape it down as needed. And then once it's smooth, then reduce the mixer speed and carefully add in the flour and salt until well combined. But we'll do that when we come back after we mix this. All right, and now we're ready for the flour and the salt. Carefully. There we go. And the salt. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and mix this up, and then we'll be right back. All right, so this is well mixed, and now what we're going to do is split the dough in half, and we're going to put 1/2 in here, and that's what we're going to do with our food coloring. So I decided a glove would be a good idea, so add that to your tools list, a last minute addition, and because I don't want my hands red. So, all right, so we're just gonna, and just eyeball it. Doesn't have to be super exact. And then the other side, we're going to make into a disc, and then we're going to wrap it up in our cling film for those across the pond. And then we're going to put that in the fridge to chill. They both will go in, but this one can go in anytime. All right, so now we're going to put that in our wrap here. Fairly disc quick. Let's put the rest in here. Okay. All right, so we'll wrap this up, ready to go in the fridge. On the other side. Okay, that was the easy part. All right, so now we're gonna add this. Now it calls for 3/4 teaspoon of the food coloring, but as they say, I'm just gonna measure with my heart on this one because I don't know. Ooh, that's intense. I don't know what it's going to look like. We're going for obviously candy cane red. Now this is a thick dough, so that's why, hence the glove, because otherwise it would be quite a shoulder workout. Need a little bit more. All right, let's give that a go. It's starting to come through. Definitely. I don't know that you can have too much of the red food coloring. It's getting a little marbly. And it's just for the 1/2, so we're not going to need a tremendous amount. And I guess if you want the marble look, you could keep it a little marbly, but we're going for red. So keep mixing here. I'm getting a little Halloween, so we'll keep mixing. Oh, that is some tough dough. Oh, and then the dough was having trouble coming together because it's cold in here. So if the dough is having trouble, communing with others, you might want to heat it up a little bit. The butter might be a little cold. So once it got warmed up slightly, then it came together. All right, so now we're on the pinky side and not on my hand. So we're going to keep going, but it's getting there. And it smells like a candy cane, so that's positive. Yeah, I kind of like it a little bit marbled. It's kind of cool, actually. So, I'm going to leave it a little marbled. We're going to get artistic with it. And, yeah, I kind of like that. Okay. Well, we're going to leave it there then. Yeah, that's fun. Yeah, I like that. And if you don't like the marbling, then just keep mixing. But I'm actually going to end it there. We'll transfer all of this fun stuff into the bowl. And whatever I do. All right. Okay, so it's already in disc form. So we're going to wrap this up. And we're going to stick both of them in the fridge for an hour at max overnight. So don't chill it for longer than that, but at least an hour. And then after we're chilled, then we'll come back and then we start the twisting and then the baking process. So I'll see you in an hour. All right, so the dough is chilled and I realize that it is quite firm. So we're going to need a rolling pin. So we're just going to flatten out both of our doughs and then get them into 1-inch strips, cut those, and I just have a butter knife here. And then that's what we're going to twist together. Hopefully the table can withstand this. I might have to do this in the kitchen, so I'll be right back. All right, so we have each one flattened, and we're just going to cut strips of each color. We're going to roll them and then twist them together to look like a candy cane. So just going to cut the excess off here. Okay. So about 1 inch, a little less. All right, so we're going to get our strip here. We're going to get it together and then do a rope. And then do the same thing on the other side. So again, this one is a little bit more crumbly without the food coloring. So just be cautious when you're rolling it out. Roping it out, I suppose. We're looking for it to be the same thickness before we actually swirl them together. Try to do it on here. There we go. This guy's going to be big. They're going to be massive cookies. Texas sized, I guess. All right, so now we're going to twist them together. And then we want to make sure to have the crook at the top. These are really fat. This is way too much dough. This is crumbling everywhere. All right, so we're going to try to be more precise here because those were getting really big. And let's see how big this guy is. There we go. That's probably why. Okay. Let's try this. Okay, so now I'm going to try to make the ropes. Just like with Play-Doh. Adults, going to bring you back to your youth. We want to make sure that they're not too thick. So we need to make sure to get the crook at the top. All right, let's try that. Okay, so let's swirl them around. Getting the crook at the top. Well, it's a first attempt. Let's try this guy. All right, swirling. Okay. That's not too bad. They're going to be rustic. Very rustic cookies. But that's okay. They're still going to taste good, and that's what matters. You know, skills, it's something that you have to practice in order to get good at. For a lot of things, it's not something that you just pick up and instantly you're amazing at, despite the fact that we would all wish that were to be true. It's not how life works. But if you want something bad enough and you work hard at it, if you wanted to be a pastry chef, then you would practice these types of skills until you got to the point where you could do them in your sleep. That's what it takes. But we're not trying to be pastry chefs. We're just trying to have a good time. All right, so let's try this again. Okay, so let's try this rope. This guy does like to crumble a little bit more. Let's try this guy. I want to get it a little bit skinnier. All right, so let's try to swirl this one. Trying to figure out how long and thin we have to get to the point where we get that crook at the top and without crumbling the white dough is the trick. But we'll keep practicing. I really want to see yours to see if you really mastered the rolling of the dough, which it's tricky. So hopefully you've got it down. So I'm going to keep going and see where we end up. So I'll be right back. All right, new technique alert. So it looks like if you kind of smoosh them together and then twist the whole thing, they look a little bit better. But if you found a better way, then by all means, I'm going to kind of smush them down here. Careful not to have it break apart on you. That way they're a little bit more put together. Let's try another one. Yes, Bob, how can I help you? I love you. You okay? You tired? All right, so let's roll these out. Okay. Smush them together. And twirl both of them. All right, so I'm going to keep going, but it looks like that's a bit of a better technique. And I'll see you guys when I'm done. All right, so this is how they turned out. Not too shabby. The technique definitely was to mush them together and then to get the crook of the candy cane. So, so these are ready to go now. If they got too warm, pop them back in the fridge for about 15 minutes to keep them from spreading too much. But if they're fine, then they can go straight into an oven at 375 Fahrenheit or 190 degrees Celsius for our friends. So bake it for 10 to 12 minutes until the bottoms are just a little bit golden. And then once they cook, then we'll take them out, cool a little bit, and then we'll add the glaze. So we're going to bake them and be right back. All right, while the cookies are baking, let's go ahead and make the glaze. So we just have our powdered sugar, and we've got our peppermint and a little bit of milk. So let's go ahead and mix. And like I said, if it's a little bit too runny, then you can add a little less of the milk. Now I did put 2 tablespoons in here, so I'm going to just do halfish and see how we get going here. So we want it, because it's a glaze, so we want it to be runny without it being all over the place, I guess. So just go ahead and mix that together, and be careful you don't floof it out of the bowl. All right, it's coming together. So here we go. So it's mixing together pretty well. I don't think I'm going to need any more milk, actually. I did add a bit of extra peppermint, so that could be what's compensating here. So yeah, looks good. So we're going to put that aside, and when we're done baking, then we're going to put it on. So I'll see you in a little bit. All right, ta-da! I think they turned out pretty well. So as a note, they go from crumbly to potentially overdone quickly. So, so just be careful with that. But yeah, I think they turned out really well. I did add extra peppermint extract to my glaze, and I think that really adds to it. I think it really makes them jump off the plate, so to speak. And yeah, not very long in the oven. So again, be careful with the oven when you use it. If you're a little one, make sure you get some help with it. But yeah, they turned out great. So yeah, let's try one. They're really tasty. I like the texture, especially dunking it in coffee or milk would be really good. And that extra peppermint especially really elevates it. So yeah, I really enjoyed it. Something really different from the other recipes that we've done together as well. And I hope you had fun and you did this with someone that you love. But even still, I hope you had fun, and we'll see you next time.